Recording artist Sasha Ann just released her first original single, Scars, by Tasmania Records. Available to stream on all platforms, plus all of the remixes. Watch the music video on her YouTube channel at Sasha Ann. That's at Sasha, ANNE.
Here we are at Leave It on the Dance Floor. You wanted Gianna? You've got Gianna. She's here today.
Hi, thank you. Finally.
Ta-da. Yes, you should have been the first one, right? Right. All right. So people don't know who you are, where you came from, what are you doing on a television show? So let's start with that. Let's tell everybody how it came to be.
Well, kind of how I started all of this. I grew up at the ALDC. I feel like a lot of people still don't know that.
Well, I know,
as many times as I've said it, as many times as I've shouted it, I feel like people still don't get it.
Well, tell us about growing up. Your mom and dad are from?
So my parents are from Pittsburgh. Dancing is a long time through my family. My grandma danced, my mom danced, my aunt danced. Everyone dances in my family. My dad's a musician, obviously. So I think kind of all of that tied together is why I do what I do.
But none of those people went into dance as a
No, they
career.
didn't. No, they didn't.
Yes.
But so they put me in dance, and I started going to the ALDC when I was 6, I believe, 6 or 7. And I was in the rec program for 2 years. I came on Wednesdays.
As was Katie Hackett, as was Jessica Ice. They always remind me of that. Yes.
I came on Wednesdays, and then when I was
Wednesdays
Wednesdays
10, is the recreation day.
when I was 9 or 10, you guys or someone, I guess it was you, asked me to be on the team, if you will, and be part of the ALDC. And it was a lot more days, and both my parents worked, so it was some figuring out, but it was something I wanted to do, and we did it. And I always say this, but the rest is history. I'm still here.
She never left. No. So growing up there as a kid, though, before a television show landed on the ALDC, you were never at another studio. It was there. We were there in that building.
I went to a small.
No. That's not what I meant.
Oh.
My mom's space. You started there.
I started on Salzburg Road in the studio that you all know.
Right. And I think where you went to elementary school, though, my mom had a dance studio.
Was in Swissville.
Yeah, once a week at Saint
Anselm.
Yes. But that was before your time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you walk in, you're in there, you're taking classes, you're 1 day a week, and I'm like, oh, she has good feet. She is flexible.
I was like in the front of the dances. Okay. I was in Splish Splash. I had like the pink bathtub.
Oh, you got the best one.
I remember that was maybe not my first dance. I remember that. I remember we did a tap dance. It was like we were all Minnie Mouse. I don't know. And then I joined the team, and I was like in like the preteen company, whatever. Yes, it was like a random company, but wait. But then I was good at ballet, so I came to ballet with like the elites or something. Like I got to do extra.
Okay. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
But growing up there, tell everybody what it was like. I mean, it was a happy place.
It was fun. I had a lot of dance friends. My dance friends, I always say this, but my dance friends were kind of like my only friends. You know, I still had school friends, but it wasn't really the same. They didn't really get what I did. I wasn't there a lot. Like my dance friends were my home and my like second family.
Right. And some frenemies.
I still talk to some of them.
Yes, of course.
One of them literally lives, well, we can get into that later, but Amanda literally lives less than a mile from me.
Oh, they moved.
To Sherman Oaks, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Gianna, was Abby your main teacher, or was she just somebody that popped in? Like, what was Abby's? Because I know that this was Rain Dance Productions, so this was Abby.
It wasn't Rain Dance Productions yet.
It wasn't Rain Dance yet. It was
the Marion Lorraine Dance Studio.
Home of
the Abby Lee Dance Company. Rain Dance wasn't until, I know when Rain Dance came, because we were eating dinner in Orlando, me, you, and Steluto.
Okay.
And we were like trying to come up with the name.
Oh, okay.
I'll never forget it.
Really?
Yeah, we were staying at your house for like 2 months.
Oh, yeah. And that's when I think I was the reason for the change in the name. So it was the Mary and Lorraine Dance Studio, which is my mother's name.
That's like what my jacket and stuff said too.
Right. And she never wanted to sell her name. Even when she had 7 studios in Miami, Florida, and could have really sold them, she chose not to do that. So I was going to semi-retire.
I know.
I was going to move to Florida with my mom and live a good life and spend time with her, quality time with her and my dog, Broadway Baby. And I didn't want to eventually sell the Mary and Lorraine Dance Studio.
Right.
So we wanted a different name. So I came up with Rain Dance Productions because of Mary and Lorraine, and then a reigning title, a crown, a banner, all that jazz.
We had this whole conversation like at dinner one night, I remember.
Okay. Did I come up with the name or did someone else?
No, you did. You did. You just had a couple different versions of it, I remember. And it was us 3 that were kind of talking about it and deciding.
That's interesting.
I remember.
And everybody had to buy new jackets and new shirts and new merch.
And that's when it was like pink and teal then.
Yes. We changed the sign.
And that's where the drop came from on the logo. Because a lot of people think that it's like blood under.
People
like
people ask that question more than things about the show sometimes, I think.
Well,
about the drop.
It is a raindrop because of Rain Dance. My mother's dad my grandfather used to call her Rain in the Face because of her freckles. And so that's where the raindrop came from. However, I think it could be a drop of blood because, dancers, their feet are bleeding.
Or a tear, maybe.
Or
Save those tears for the film. Like a lot of people take it and think of all different ways that it could be.
I'm sure even till this day, I don't know if the floor is still in the studio, but I feel like if you went in there with one of those forensic lights, you would probably see some blood.
And some
There'd be
tears.
some blood, and some tears there. Yes,
but no, I mean, not all bad tears. We had it was fun. I danced 3 days a week and then ballet on the weekends and rehearsals. Back to what you were saying, Michael. Sorry, I just said Abby was my main teacher. She taught me like basically every class. You'd send us into C for tap or like sometimes into B for ballet. But like for my solos and all my group dances and all of that, it was Abby.
Really? That's amazing. And now, Abby, like, are you still in touch with any of the teachers that were also teaching while you were? Like, how was that? Like, were you still obviously the one?
Did you have Matt for tap?
I had. So I started with. I had both. I had. Do you want me to say this on all this? I forget who my first ballet teacher was. Liz.
Ugh, okay.
And I think Beth was my tap teacher.
Oh, okay.
And Tina, like that whole ish.
Yeah.
And then, but you were all the core classes, I would say. And then, but Mr. Jerry was either musical theater or tap.
Right.
I even remember him doing a musical theater dance for us.
Let's give a big shout out to Mr. Jerry Ross. Yes.
We did telephone hour and we competed it.
Oh, he's looking for a new liver.
I know.
Yeah, it's sad.
And then Matt was my tap teacher.
From then on. Okay. But you were older then.
Yeah, I was like 14, I think. 14 or 15.
Oh, wow.
And I was in his like first of the small group.
Oh, a big winning small group. I'm sure.
There were 4 of us. Yeah.
Now, you won. We went to the competitions, the big competitions, New York City Dance Alliance and Jump, and before many
people always
started.
ask me like what comps that we used to go to and like what was popular during that time.
But we did so much with Dance Masters.
We did DMA, we did DEA, we did West Coast Dance Explosion, NYCDA. Jump started when I was, like I said, like 14 or 15.
Right. And we went to that.
Nouveau started the year that I graduated. The Dance Awards did not exist.
Because you were really involved with that whole Jump First Nationals.
Yeah, we went to the first Jump Nationals ever.
Yes, we did. So that would be like the Dance Awards now. Yeah. We went to that.
And we went to the first Nouveau Nationals also.
Yeah, and it was, that turned ugly for me because I had a kid running back and forth who was in your groups. And the other little girl as well who was vying for a new title for Teen Miss Dance of America. And she really got cropped on. Yeah.
I was at Jump.
You were at Jump. You were doing what you were told. Your mother followed the rules.
Jump was fun.
Yes. And now, going to New York City. Let's jump to that. So you're at Jump. You're in New York City. You've gone to New York City several times with me.
I don't think that my mom was there. She did like to go, but I think I was old enough to start to go by myself then.
Right. In the room with the girls. Yes. So we're all in New York City, and one of the places I first took you.
BDC?
Yes.
I was gonna say like juniors or Macy's or
I think we went to a Chinese
for an audition.
restaurant.
I don't know. I just told someone about that.
Don't tell that story.
No, I won't. But I was just telling someone about that place.
Okay.
Does it still exist?
I don't know. Probably. Okay, that's a Chinese restaurant for anyone that's interested. West Side Cottage.
You should go. It's fun.
It's fun. Yes, they have dirty fortune cookies. Unbeknownst to me, I had no idea. Okay, so one of the first places I took you was Broadway Dance Center, which is a professional studio in New York City where it's changing now. They're all changing, but back in the day, it's where professionals dance. So people that were in Broadway shows or between Broadway shows, Radio City Rockettes that were not in season, they weren't rehearsing, they take class and they train at Broadway Dance Center. And now, excitingly enough, yes,
I love teaching there. It is nice to spend the day in New York and teach a crazy good sold out class at BDC. The talent is it's just different. I feel like, I've been here for 8 or 9 years now, but to go back and teach in New York is just, I don't know, it's different kind of good.
That's a great way to say it. It's a different kind of good. Yeah. I got some bad news yesterday that New York got their papers to close. And I'm telling you, I have seen countless shows and it is fantastic. So if anyone's listening, please run to see New York as fast as you can, because it's a Candor and Ebb show with Lin-Manuel Miranda stepped in to do the rest of the lyrics, and it is brilliant. It's an old Broadway show, like 42nd Street kind of thing, but with all new twists to bring it to 2023, and it's unbelievable, and that sickens me. But maybe it'll go on the road or something. Yeah. So let's jump ahead. We're in Pittsburgh, and it's now 2008. When did you graduate?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
So you go to college, and I used to call you on the phone or text you. Was texting a thing then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I text you on the phone, and you'd be in class at college, at university, and are you busy? What are you doing? No, I'm tapping underneath my desk.
I literally don't know what I did at school. I went to school. I did it.
Well, you paid.
Yeah.
And you got your paper.
I have my paper.
But Gianna went as a marketing major. Do you know how hard it was for me to get her to make those flyers?
I made so many flyers, Abby.
You made a lot of flyers, but the only way I could get her to make them is by sequestering her on the bus. Remember the bus?
I have my laptop right here.
So the bus, on her laptop, I would force her, like she was falling asleep.
I could fit myself perfectly in the bus seat to fall asleep by the end of the series.
Yes, the seat was Gianna size. That's the size seat it was. So my legs are hanging out. The kids are crawling over me. My arms are hanging out. Somebody's leaning on my elbow. And she could fall asleep. But I'm like, Gianna, wake up. I'm kicking her across. I made sure I sat right across from her.
Every time.
And I should have been sitting across from JoJo. And I should have been on JoJo's laptop, because I would have had a big YouTube channel, because that kid was, you remember?
Yeah.
Where's the Wi-Fi? The Wi-Fi's out. She would cause a hissy fit about the Wi-Fi on the bus. So anyway, we made the flyers for every event that we were going to. You all know I've shared a lot about my life on and off camera over the last decade. I have to admit that between filming, teaching, traveling, the lesson plans, the cameos, my head is just spinning in so many different directions. And it gets hard to focus sometimes, something I really need to do to get the jobs all done. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker, and I try to stay away from those energy drinks. My doctors don't want me to have all that sugar. It wasn't until I tried Magic Mind that I found exactly what I needed to get my head on straight, especially as a teacher, having something I know I can count on to get my thoughts together and create those lesson plans before working with you kids just helps me know I'll have a productive day. The best thing about Magic Mind, is that it has all natural ingredients like matcha, nature's extended release caffeine, which helps reduce stress. There's no sugar, it's nut-free, vegan, keto, paleo-friendly, and it's delicious. I love it. Head over to www.magicmind.com/AbbyL and use my code AbbyL20. That's ABBYL20 at the checkouts. Once again, www.magicmind.com/AbbyL, code AbbyL20. Make your days start off right with a sip of Magic Mind. I jumped ahead. So we're in the studio. It's 2007, 8. You're in college. Yeah. How did it come to be that you were the chosen one? Because there's a lot of other...
The $1 million question.
...young teachers in my studio at the time who were my students, who were raised by me or were outside students. And there they were. James was there.
Yeah.
You were there. There were people there.
I don't know. I mean, I think... So I went to school and most of my roommates, were bartenders or worked in retail or things like that. My mom would pick me up and I would come home to teach dance 1 day a week. And then every single weekend I would go to competition with the kids. I would rehearse them. I would turn in all the music, like all that stuff.
For me.
Yes.
Right. But I was there.
Yeah. No, you were there. But I would, that was like my kind of college job, but I was already doing it before college. I don't know. I was just doing it.
She was still part of the ALDC. It was your home.
I never left. I never left. I remember my senior recital, and I would like start bawling after every number. And you would be sitting on the side. You were downstage right in the corner at Linton, and you were like, "What is wrong with you? Stop crying. You're not going to never dance again. What is wrong with you?" And she's like, "You're going to be back here next week. Stop crying. You look a mess."
I don't remember
Because I would run off stage after every number, and I was just bawling my eyes out. And you were like, "Stop it. You're going to dance tomorrow. What is wrong with you?"
And I was right.
Yeah. But again, yes, you're right, because I never really did leave. I was teaching before that.
Right.
I was teaching the next day after that. So I think I was just doing what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Doing my job.
And you had a job.
I liked what I did. It wasn't like you weren't begging me to be there, or I wasn't like, "Oh, I have to go somewhere tonight. Oh, I can't come in this weekend. I'm going to Penn State for the weekend." Things like that.
You didn't do that.
No. I never did things like that.
And you were
I had
reliable.
fun, but I was also, I liked coming to dance and I liked teaching.
And I was doing solos from like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every weekend. And I remember you were first, if I'm remembering correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you were my assistant to roll around on the floor for me.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
I didn't just hit play. Whoever, sometimes people are like, "Oh my God, you were the girl that played the music."
Oh, what?
I get that. I get that a lot.
Oh my God.
To be honest.
Well, screw them. They don't know what they're talking about.
So no, I was just there. I wanted to be there. I wanted to help you. I wanted to
learn.
I wanted to learn. I wanted to have my 8 counts if I could and throw it in there. And you said, like, "What feels good? Does this feel right? Does this feel right?" I'm like, "No."
Well, because I think when kids get up off the floor, there's a certain foot you want to step on. There's a certain way you want to roll. And if I'm not down on the floor doing it, I can't feel it. So
Which
I need
now
someone...
I'm not down on the floor doing it.
So I needed someone that was, but you're always like 14 in my eyes. Yes. So I remember that you always were doing musical theater.
I did for a lot of years.
I know. I
had
know
really
why.
cute costumes.
Fabulous costumes. Custom made.
Uh-huh.
Yes. But I remember the sugar.
So
Pour some sugar on it.
So I did a musical theater until I was, I think, 14. And then I did lyrical. And that was my first big, that's the first time that I ever won first.
Oh, with like the pageant and the title and
which
you had
is
a crown on your head, didn't you?
Yeah, but like first overall,
okay.
And this is really ironic because it was Star Power, and I tell that story like almost every weekend whenever I'm teaching for them, and I'm like, "You guys liked me then?"
Well, they like you now,
which was a big. That's
a big win.
Competition.
We didn't go to that very often.
We did not. I honestly think it was our first year going to it, and I did lyrical, and then I started to get a little contemporary, but Abby lyrical. I don't know.
Abby lyrical. Abby contemporary. There's no sickle dull foot.
So yeah,
no.
probably 15, 16, 17, I did kind of lyrical contemporary pieces.
I was the type of dance teacher that didn't want my own students competing against each other. So I would do everything in my power to have, 13 to 15 age group. And I had a tapper, a lyrical, a contemporary, an open, an acro, this, that, and the other thing, because I didn't want them going head to head. For the overalls, they were going to be head to head anyway.
Yeah, I know. I always did well with jazz and the musical theater. I was always like top 5, but people ask me this a lot. No, I didn't actually start to win and do really well and get scholarships and things like that until I was like 15 or 16.
Well, because you kept working for it.
Yeah.
Those
I wanted it.
friends of yours that won everything when they were 12 and under, you turn 13 and you're going up against 18-year-olds. It's different.
I still see it. I still see it every weekend.
Every weekend. You see those kids just change. Yeah. All right. So did I come to you and say there's a TV show? This is what I can't remember. And unlike the other cast members on the show that blocked it all out because it was toxic, I just really can't remember.
No, I definitely don't know if I remember exactly. It's definitely blurry. But I do remember you saying that we were going to film something. Like we were going to come in and people were coming to film something. Like I remember that.
So you weren't involved with the moms and kids coming to the interviews and all that?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
All right.
Not at all. Because again, I wasn't there every day, but I was there one day a week and then weekends. So no, I missed all of that really. I do remember it was my senior year in college, and I don't know if it was you or whoever it was, and you said, expect a call. They're going to call you because we're going to go on the road this weekend. We're going to Arizona. I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead, but.
So you hadn't signed a contract at this point?
No.
Okay.
No one even knew who I was, but.
I did.
No, I know, but I wasn't cast on the show. I wasn't interviewed to be on the show. But I don't know if who I guess it was you, but they're like, well, who's going to turn in the music or who's going to put the kids backstage and rehearse? So you're like, I'm kind of just going to be there.
Right.
And I was taking a final and my phone starts buzzing and it's a 323 area code number, which I know is LA. And I look at my phone and I look at the paper and I'm like, this is the call. I'm supposed to take this call.
I can't take this test.
I flipped it over. It was our final. I flipped it over and I walked out and I took the call. And it was the call.
Did you
I said
fail the
yes.
test?
I don't even think I went back. I think I went to Starbucks to call my mom and I was like, I'm going on the road this weekend. And then I went back to tell all of my roommates and most were excited. Some kind of rolled their eyes at me. But and then today, and I just posted about the anniversary, and one of my old roommates texted me, and she's like, I'll never forget the night that you ran out of the test, and you came back and told us, and nobody knew what it was. We were happy for you.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
No, not all of them.
No. You always get those frenemies.
When they called you, Gianna, did they offer you, were they going to pay you? Because I know that they kind of really screwed over Abby and the rest of the cast.
They told me that they wanted me to come to the competition to do what I would do for the weekend. I wasn't doing the dances at that point. Or I didn't do party. That was the first dance. And then the trio that they did that weekend, I didn't do that dance. Those were done. They just said, we want you to come and do what you would do at competition, for the weekend. They said, we'll leave Friday. We'll be back Sunday or Monday or whatever. We need your information for the flight. They told me they would pay me $300. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Hey, a free flight to Arizona. She would have been gone for nothing, probably.
Yeah.
Because we were stupid. We would have. I probably did.
And it was West Coast Dance Explosion. And I was, ironically, I had won, I was a past title winner and stuff.
For West Coast.
For them, or for Pittsburgh, not for national, but for I was the senior elite, whatever.
And they were friends.
Winner. So they knew me. Ironically, they know my family.
This is a strange story. Yeah. So your aunt, Amy,
danced with the owner of West Coast
John
Dance Explosion,
Crutchman, who at that time owned West Coast Dance Explosion.
Yeah.
So there was a connection.
And
there.
my cousin, Alyssa, was working for them at the time, not that weekend, but also worked for them. So I was like, yeah, why not? Why wouldn't I go? Let's go.
Of course. When they said that's where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then I think there was one or two that I missed after that. I had to graduate. I had to walk. I didn't know if I was going to graduate or not. So I think I missed one. I think I missed one or two.
But you go to a university and college eventually to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And you were getting a job.
Yeah, I got the job before.
You got the job. So that's why one goes to get a degree and for their own satisfaction. And it's to prepare for life and to get a job. And you got a job. And you know.
It was Brian who was calling me, by the way.
Okay. And Satan, for those of you that watch the podcast, leave it on the dance floor. You know who Satan is. And so Satan called you. You went.
I said, okay, just right on the spot because
it was going to be fun.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be fun.
I mean, it was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Gianna, did you think that, were you under the impression that it was supposed to be only 6 weeks, or were you just coming for that week? Like, were you just going?
I knew it was a 6, or they said it was a 6-week commitment, like for the summer to after the first week, because I don't think I did the second or third week, and then they said pack for 3 weeks or something, and that was, or 3 or 4 weeks.
Gianna packing for 3 or 4 weeks. That's whole.
I just packed for 2 weeks this morning. You should see this stuff. And I said, okay. And then as, again, all of my roommates in college were all interviewing and getting jobs or moving into new apartments and things like that, I moved all my stuff home. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take the summer off from all of this and do this. And they all looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, I'm going to confess something, and I don't know if you know about it or not. So at your graduation party from high school, I kind of got into it with your Aunt Amy. Do you know this?
No.
I kind of got into it with Aunt Amy, who I love. It has been very kind to me ever since. So I said something about you going to we haven't mentioned the university, but it's called Point Park, and I always call it Pointless Park. But Gianna did not go there for dance.
I went there for advertising and marketing. And PR.
Yes. So not for dance, but it is
So I can do other things too. I just don't.
Try twisting her arm to do a flyer. Okay. So the school was very well known in the dance world as a dance university.
Yes.
And I'm not a big advocate of kids going to college for dance. I'm an advocate of them going to school for an education.
I think dance in school is for some people, not for everyone.
No.
You know, if that's the route that you want to go, that's for you. It was not the route that I wanted to go.
No. And those dancers that danced with you, they graduated from high school and started dancing professionally and earning a paycheck because that's what they wanted to do. And it doesn't have to do with who's smart and who's not, or, you know, it's sometimes your economic background. A lot of kids didn't have $200,000 to throw at a college to take more dancing lessons.
I didn't even want to go to school. I wanted to move. And my parents were like, you've never washed a dish in your life. And with what money? You know, like you've never done anything. We do everything. And you have no job. Like, I mean, you teach dance.
Gianna and I are in the Only Child Club. I should add. We started the Only Child Club.
So my parents were like, where are you going and with what money? So.
Right. So Amy said, well, she's going to dance. And I said, well, she's not going to dance at school. She's going to keep coming to my studio and dancing. She's not dancing at school. And she's like, yes, she is. She's going to dance. She's going to get her degree. And then my cousin in Las Vegas, which I'm not going to name who it is, my cousin in Las Vegas is going to get her a job, and she's going to help her out. And she's going to get her a job. And I went, okay, I'm going to get her a job. But that's fine. If that's the way you think of me, that's fine. Like
I just saw her recently. Our cousin.
What does she do?
She doesn't live in Vegas anymore. She has a daughter now that brought her to a convention that I was at, ironically.
Is she good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, this cousin was a professional dancer. I knew her. She had trained her whole life. She was in Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. And when Gianna graduated, this girl was going to give her a career and help her and do all this. And I'm like looking at your aunt like, no, she's not. And so that's
so funny because I feel like besides my mom and dad, the rest of my family is very work oriented and very like school and college and job and school and college and job. And I was just, that's not me. Or my parents.
Your parents were, your dad was very is, we're talking about in the past tense, your dad was very artistic. He's a musician, and that's his love and his passion. So he understands what you do.
The rest of my family, I mean, they came to every competition, every recital, everything with me.
Yes, that's how I know them. So I know
100% supportive, but that's just not their
And I know
thing.
Gianna's, like, besides her being my student, her mother worked for me for many years after the fact, like after you had graduated. But even during that time, we were close. We were friendly. They were respectful to me. They were kind to me. They came in. They paid their bill. They brought their pictures. They put them in the program book. They did what they were supposed to do.
My mom loved the book.
The book. I missed the book. I know you don't miss the book, but I missed the book.
The book.
I sadly missed the book. However, I knew her aunt. I knew her uncle. I knew her other aunt. I know your family, and they're big dance people, but they're also, you have your banker and you have your chemist or whatever she is, and you have this and you have that, and so it was.
I was like the complete opposite.
Right. And I think you were out doing all this dance stuff, and then your cousin wanted to do it too.
I know.
Yeah,
I still think she does.
I think in a heartbeat, Alyssa, if you're listening, I think in a heartbeat, if somebody said, "Hey, you're going to go on tour with so-and-so, or you're going to be in a Broadway show or whatever," you would be like, "Here's my doctorate degree. I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute."
Yes, for sure. I think so.
Yes. So, but anyway.
One of the best dancers I know.
Yes. Amazing dancer and a wonderful family. So, and she's teaching on a convention now.
Yeah.
So your dad's a musician. Your mom works for the government?
She worked for the state. Yeah.
For the state, yes.
But she was very artsy. Like she always drew, and she always wanted to do hair and things like that. Like she's not like, we're very like artsy people, I feel like.
Yes. Unlike the fam.
Yeah.
The fam. Okay. So now moving on, you and I remember this. We're in Las Vegas in some dumpy bar, restaurant, pub kind of thing. And it's the premiere of the first episode.
I remember what I was wearing. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
And you're sitting next to me.
This purple dress from Banana Republic.
But you were sitting.
J.Crew.
You were sitting next to me, right? At the bar. We were sitting there, and the show comes on.
I don't remember so vividly, but
I remember turning to look at you. You were on my right, turning to look at you, and saying, "Nobody is going to watch this shit." I was so appalled at the dancing.
I didn't even like.
The edits and the cutting it and the different music that we didn't use. And oh my God. And I was like, Gianna, no one's going to watch this shit. We're going to go back to our lives.
Yeah. It's so funny to see clips and see things of the very first few episodes because it looked rough. I feel like I didn't even know what we were actually doing though. Like, you know how after maybe like season 2, season 3, season 4, it was a format. It was like same stuff, different day. It was
same stuff, different day.
It was just like a broken record at that point. But season 1, it wasn't that mapped out. So I would sometimes even forget what we were doing, or it didn't seem so like I couldn't actually place what it was going to be or what it was going to look like or
in the
things
end,
like that.
The end result. Okay. Yeah. It was.
Then after that, it was just redundant.
Yeah, but it looked like a mess. It was a mess. If you didn't know what it was going to look like.
I was a mess. The outfits are just.
I'm going to tell you, it was a mess. So I just couldn't believe the editing. And when I flew to LA and I met the production company people that are back in post, and I said, if anyone ever took dance lessons in their life, can you please raise your hand? No one raised their hand. It was like.
I asked that once too.
Why wouldn't you hire.
Before season 8, I asked that.
Like, can't you hire one kid that went to dancing school? I mean, there has to be one.
When I was in the office.
Yeah, it's
with my one desk job.
Oh yeah, ever in your life.
Ever.
All right, so we watched the episode, and we're like, I remember, I turned to you and I said, "No one's ever going to watch this," but I guess they did.
Somehow they did.
So, in your perspective, tell me about seeing your dance teacher suddenly in the limelight, not in that, in the shadow behind the scenes. Because you know me, I didn't want to get in a picture. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be on the stage when they used to make you walk out at DEA, the dance teachers, and get a rose. We were doing that Bachelorette thing way before the Bachelorette. And
right.
I hated it. I didn't want to be anywhere.
I still think that people always ask me when did you realize it was big, or when did you look back and think, whoa, this is huge now. I don't know. I mean, and again, like people, I just always knew you. I just always knew you as you. So it wasn't like totally weird for me. It was just, I don't know.
Kate said one of the girls was being interviewed by somebody when the show first started. And she said, kind of profoundly, I found this, that I was doing what I had trained them to do. I was interviewing the way I trained you to interview. I was suddenly on the red carpet as I trained you guys to be on the stage.
Yeah, and it wasn't like people would say, like, it wasn't like in the beginning, at least. It was really just you, I feel like. It wasn't like totally, so you remember how like in the middle it got so far off, and then they were making you do this, making you do that, looking like this, talking about that. In the beginning, I feel like it was still real almost.
It was real at the beginning because none of us knew what the hell we were doing.
Exactly.
And so it was our real lives. It was real. And, to see yourself on the side of a bus or a bus stop, that was surreal for me, especially when I hated the picture and what I had on and everything else, But those things, were you just so busy teaching at the studio? And that's another thing I wanted to mention. People don't realize that I just think right now, you and I both would be in a different place if those kids would have been homeschooled and class was over at 4:00. I feel like my studio would have been booming still.
Yeah, people always ask me if I watched the show, and I was like, no, I worked on Tuesday nights.
We did. And then I would get home.
I couldn't bear to go home and like watch it again.
No.
Like I just did it all day.
We did it. We did it again. We did it again. We did it again. So I was trying to run a business that had been bad and people weren't paying. You know that. You were getting a paycheck, but I wasn't getting a paycheck. Somebody chose to pay instead of paying my insurance. She had to pick and choose. And I'm like, the tap teacher can wait a month. You know what I mean? He works 5 other places. Pay my insurance. So that was Rose.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if your mom was there, she would have come to me and said, what do I do? Not just make that decision on her own. But it was every day, day in and day out. And I so regret that I had 27 senior company members in one room and 5 little girls or 7 little girls in the other room.
Yeah, but like we didn't know. Like we were just so.
And we had some amazing dancers in the studio. John Michael, Fiumara. I mean, there were.
Had we known, that would have never happened.
No.
I feel like if we could go back.
Oh, we could go back in time. Or had my dad been alive,
he
would have punched Satan in the face. And that would have been the end of that right there. Not too long ago, I was in the hospital fighting for my life, fighting a very rare form of cancer, Burkitt lymphoma, choking my spinal cord, knocking at death's door, and having to go through 10 very invasive rounds of chemotherapy. I never thought I'd be able to stand on my own 2 feet again, let alone teach dance. It wasn't until Dancers Against Cancer visited me during my recovery to help in my time of need that I realized their incredible mission. They have created an alliance in the dance community that provides financial support and inspiration to dance educators, choreographers, studio owners, dancers, and their families who have been impacted by cancer. The I'm a Dancer Against Cancer campaign was founded in 2012 in response to the loss of a young dancer from cancer. Since then, it has become a beacon of hope in the dance community, uniting dancers all over the nation. Join the fight against cancer and help make a difference with the dance community. For more information on how to get involved and make a one-time or even monthly donation, please visit I'mADancerAgainstCancer.org/donate. Again, please get involved and make a difference within the dance community. Visit I'mADancerAgainstCancer.org @ALDC.org/donate. They wouldn't have come in. They wouldn't have used the facility like that. They
Right,
wouldn't
we
have
didn't know.
destroyed things. Right. And then there were certain friends of yours that also got jobs on the show.
Mhm.
Your duet partner.
Mm-hmm. A
ended
lot
up,
of my friends.
Teresa Moyo,
Uh-huh.
who was not in the front and the middle or in the small
She
groups.
was in my group. She was in my group, though.
She was
Both of 'em.
in your competition team. Yes. And I remember going into Moyo's bakery, which is a big Italian bakery in Pittsburgh where we are, and taking one of the line producers in, and I said, this girl needs a job. She should not be stuffing cannolis. She should be in theater somehow, because she went to school for theater. As a theater major, she went to college, and he offered her a job, and she quit the next day at the bakery and started working. And she's in
LA now.
And she's a director, and she's in the Directors Guild, and she's doing great and has a nice life. Your duet partner went back and forth to Tokyo for a million years, and was back in Pittsburgh, semi-retired from dancing, and ended up being a wrangler.
She started as a PA. I know that. And now she is, I think, just a production manager now.
She now works for Dancing with the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not
a bunch of other shows
on the stage dancing, but in the background doing paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some other people that were very jealous that weren't on the show, that felt they should have been, And I found out that later from like their parents or their relatives, wow, she should have been on the show.
Amanda is who you did the logo after, right? It was combined with her and somebody else.
Hannah. Shout out to Hannah.
Not Colin.
You were probably in the middle more. And this is something I need to ask you about. We've never discussed it. I'm in LA doing Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. And the studio is suffering in my absence or fine in my absence?
Well, at that point, I feel like just because you and I were so doing the show that the gears were kind of turning by themselves without us. I don't know if good, I don't know bad. They were just turning. And so when I went back, I mean, like, we were still going to competition.
Yeah,
we would go to like the regular stuff.
I felt like I hired a good manager, and that was good.
I did too. And I didn't see
that coming.
I didn't see any of that, to be honest. I didn't know any of that, to be honest.
Yeah. I had a studio in Pittsburgh, and this happens to a lot of dance teachers, where one of the young girls wants to open her own studio, and they take your faculty with you. They take 286 students with you who never even danced after a year, I don't think, half of them. And you're paying these people to steal your information.
Yeah, I was very blindsided by all of that also.
Right.
Because I think that was happening kind of when we both left.
Right.
We were both back and forth in LA.
Yes. And we were
not
here
just you.
No, when I was doing Abby's Ultimate, you were
there.
I
was still there.
And so I had someone that I trusted, you, to be there.
Yeah, because we were still going to...
Well, I trusted everyone.
The regular competitions with the whole studio plus the TV show kids.
Oh, I know. And that I remember...
Doing picture day, like things like that.
Mackenzie Ziegler was in a ballroom dance with my godchild, Maddie. And they could never rehearse it because she wasn't there. You were holding the fort down, if you will, when I was doing Abby's Ultimate. And then we were both in LA. Yeah. We were moving to LA.
The whole show kind of moved to LA. Was it, correct me if I'm wrong, like season 4 maybe?
No, the end of 5.
5?
It was
it's all a blur.
The end of 5 is when the new studio was completed.
5B.
Yes.
We were working out of all these studios in Los Angeles that were crap. Mm-hmm. I remember looking at Maddie's knees. And her shins, and she was so black and blue and so beat up. And I'm like, I can't have these kids dance on this floor anymore.
I know. So
I went into, not debt, but I wasted a lot of money building out the most gorgeous studio in LA.
It was nice.
It was beautiful. And the waiting area, like the lobby area, was ginormous. And the store was absolutely incredible. I miss it so much. And we had this amazing studio. So if any of you ever visited Los Angeles and you were able to come to the ALDC LA, It was great. You can see it in Todrick's video. We're reposting that video too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's it called?
I don't know.
It's called Dance. Like the song is called Dance, but if you look it up on YouTube, it's just ALDCLA.
ALDCLA. It's a cute
everybody
video.
knows it.
Yeah, it's great. And it was really showed off the studio. It was great. So back in Pittsburgh, you are back and forth.
I was back and forth, and that's why I didn't move or do anything right away. I was living, if the show would have us in LA for 3 months, I was living there, and then I would live back at home
Of course.
after that. So
I moved back home when my
Mhm.
dad got sick and he was dying.
yeah,
and
I was
moved
back
home.
and forth for a while.
That's okay. We're only children.
Yeah.
Why are we going to go stay somewhere else when we have
I
laundry
know.
and food?
You're telling
Michael
me.
knows all about it.
Oh,
Michael knows all about it.
I need that now.
All about what?
Living at home.
Oh, yes. Well, right now
It's a
I'm
good
living
thing.
in 2 places going back and forth between Brooklyn and Long Island. So now I'm getting a little taste of, being out all the time. But it's only Brooklyn versus Long Island. So it's not like LA versus Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was far. It was far.
Yeah.
And I bone to pick with you. Your mother never came here during that time.
I know. She did see the studio. She did. She came out when my cousin graduated.
Oh, she made it for that, but not
I-
for us to see the show.
No.
Thanks, Kim.
She came to see the show. Like, I remember we were like in West Virginia once, and she brought my grandma, and they came. And
Oh,
she
I
would
remember
come
that.
whenever, like we did the JoJo episode in Pittsburgh, season 8.
Yeah.
She came.
But
So-
just to see
No,
her
I
apartment
know.
and live the LA
No,
life
I
and go to
know.
a premiere or
She
something.
doesn't like flying.
Okay. All right.
She
well, that makes
would,
sense.
because like she would go to Vegas whenever I was younger and stuff.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like to
Ye-
fly.
Gianna, Abby says that your mother and all of the mothers in your group could have been a whole different show.
I was getting to that.
prior to-
No, my mom
Yeah.
was nice.
Well-
I wouldn't have been cast. Like, we wouldn't have made it because she likes everyone.
Well,
But
yeah,
maybe she
yes
would
and,
have.
yes and no. She would have got really nervous. I think she gets like a
Yeah.
little bit nervous. We would have had, we're naming them.
Yeah.
We would have had Caitlin Reiser, who was my Miss Dance of America.
Yeah.
We would have had her mother, Anna Reiser,
Yeah.
who would walk in a suit like from Bloomingdale's or whatever, but scrub toilets so her kid could dance. And then we had Crystal Jennings
Mm-hmm.
and her mom,
Oh,
Connie.
she just had a baby. Yeah.
Crystal did.
Yeah. It's cute.
And
Caitlin just did too.
well, Crystal Jennings' mom looked like, let's just say, if you got in a fight outside a bar, you want her on your side. But she was a lovely woman. She was a
Oh,
great
they're such nice
customer.
people.
Very nice people, wonderful people. Shout out to Crystal and what's her sister?
Melinda.
Melinda. Crystal and Melinda
Aw.
Jennings, shout out to you and your mom, Connie, and your dad. Her dad was laid carpet, and was laying carpet in my house. And he's like, oh, my kids dance. And he said to my dad, oh, my kids dance. And my dad was like, well, where do they dance? And he told them, and he's like, well, forget that place. Get them up to my studio. And they did. And Crystal
Yeah.
ended up being Teen Miss Dance
Mhm.
and everything. She was a great dancer. And Amanda, who we spoke of, who's the logo.
Caitlin, Crystal, Amanda.
And who else would have been in there? You had to pick one more.
Maybe Leah.
Oh, that would have been a story. Her mother. She had the fake boobs and everything,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah. Yeah, Leah. She was a good topper. She didn't come around till later.
She was later. I'm trying to think who else.
Who else was there? Who was in Baby in a Box? Second time.
Miranda.
Oh,
Oh, that would have been our team.
that would have been the team. Yeah, I would have had Miranda before Leah because, well, both of them, but Miranda's mother was a whole show in herself.
That would have been a good group.
Oh, so Dance Moms.
I would have been in the back.
What in 2005, 6,
Mhm.
we could have done Dance Moms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give a shout out to all those kids that would have made that group. Without casting people, without people from LA, I would have just picked them. And it would have been Gianna Martello and her mom, because I needed somebody in that group that could count. And we needed a nice person. You have to have one nice person that everybody hates. Okay, and then we would have had Caitlin Reiser and her mother Anna. We would have had Crystal Jennings and her mom Connie, and her little sister would have been like erased from the family. And then we would have had Leah Pivarato and her mom, I don't know her mother's name. Anyway, Mrs. Pivarato, but she was divorced, so I don't know what her name was. And Miranda Molesky and her mother, Stephanie.
And Amanda.
And Amanda Saluto and her mother, my dear friend, who flew out to Florida, or flew out to LA the minute that I was dying. When she heard about that, she was the first one that flew out. She slept in my hotel room. Mary Saluto was a fun, crazy person. She was just fun and crazy, and she was always good to me. And she was very grateful that her child had a career in dance and was making money and doing what she loved. And Mary was very grateful. So that would have been your first. No, that wouldn't have been the first group. The first group would have been, and I'm just going to say this. We would have been the second group. You would have been season 2. We would have had Allie Meixner and her mom, Kathy. We would have had Corey Kurkowski and her mom, Bonnie. We would have had Ashley Kosvinsky and her mom. We would have had
Megan, maybe.
Her mother would not have made good TV. No. We would have had Cassie Delp.
Oh, yeah.
Her mom would
there
have
was
made
a
good
Kristen,
TV.
right?
Who?
Kristen?
No, you're thinking of Kirsten. You're thinking
of Kirsten.
No. But anyway, I could have done Dance Moms, 5 different casts. And I think back to when things really went wrong. And I feel like if you turned 14, you're out of the group completely. And it should have been a new cast member coming in. Then it wouldn't have been like a whole new cast.
Right.
You knew D-Day was coming. When that kid turned 14 for competition season and was too old to be dancing as a junior,
that
then
makes sense.
They would go and a new kid come in.
Because they always tried to make it junior competition team, junior elite team, and that was so hard, like once they got older.
Right. And I just think if they turned 14, they knew they were out before they went in. You know what I mean? When you sign this piece of paper that when you turn 14, you are no longer a member of this team on television.
And then it would have just filtered in, and it would have just been like more kids.
And then the world would have realized that this is how it works. You don't stay in the same age group at competition for the rest of your life. You got to move. You have to be the youngest one in the senior division.
You also don't do new dances every week at competition.
No.
But that's a whole different story.
That's crazy. We can talk a little bit about that. Go ahead.
So when I danced, which hopefully the world knows this, you don't do a new solo. You don't go to competition every single week. Some people do. Some people that have the means to go to a competition every week, good for them. But you don't do a new dance. You don't pay for a new dance, a new choreography every week. You learn 1 or 2, probably 2 maximum solos. If you're like
in my studio, you learned 1.
But if you were like a really really good tapper or
like
something like
John Michael, like
specialty, you would do 2.
Right.
But no, you would learn a solo in the fall
or Youth
kind of
American
before
Grand Prix.
Christmas.
Like if you were doing the ballet
a variation,
you had to do that, right?
And you did that dance every competition for the whole season,
and it got better.
It got better. It evolved. It changed. You didn't just throw something new on stage every week.
Insane. So I always say we choreographed over 500 numbers.
I think it's more, to be honest.
That's what I was wondering. Have you ever gone through and counted them?
No, but I could count the music. Michael, you can count this. So count each episode, time like 5 dances each episode, give or take. Because if Kathy was there, we got to do less.
Yeah, we got.
And then they.
So how many episodes are there in total of Dance Moms?
Ooh, that's a good question. Even
how
I don't
know that? You know everything.
I do know everything. You know what it was? It's different because season 3 had like 38, 39 episodes. Then season 8 only had like 18. So all the different seasons were different.
25 per season, like give or take.
Yeah.
25 episodes?
How many episodes are per season?
It's supposed to be 13.
Oh. No, that's per half season.
Oh, A and B? Oh, yeah, 26.
So like 25 episodes times 8.
So think about 4 dances per episode. 5. I know that there was 5. It's definitely more. But
on solo week, there was 7.
It had to have been at least 600 or 700.
Right.
Then.
Wow.
You really think.
So when you see repeat phrases, it's that they were repeat phrases.
What Gianna's talking about when she says repeat phrases in the dance routine, if there was a diagonal line and everybody did, whatever out of it, we use that again and again and again because the kids knew it. It worked. It looked good. go,
Or
go,
like,
go.
or like if there was a kid, I'm just gonna use this as an example, like a turn section that they did into an aerial, into something cool that really worked for them. It would go in a couple of their dances, not just because, you know, they're competing against kids that are doing the same choreography every week, that have been working on their pieces for months, and we're working
Absolutely.
on pieces for like 30 minutes.
So we're sick of hearing it. So if you say we repeated stuff,
We know.
We did. We know. Get over it. Because other kids repeat it every single week. They do the same dance. All right. So we needed to borrow stuff that we had done before that worked. Of course.
Whenever
But
people
also-
on YouTube or on TikTok like put the dances side by side and they're like, same choreo, I'm like, yep, I was sick that week. It's the same choreo.
But at the same time, you guys knew what would win, you know?
Right.
And I think that was why
Right.
whenever a new teacher or a new team or somebody would even try to just do it themselves, whether it was somebody or anybody who tried to replace you guys or whoever that they would bring in as ringers.
Yeah, I wanted to like touch on that today too. I was thinking about that, about like when they would bring us in to replace. It's like I know they're, you know, world renowned. I know that they brought in some really heavy hitter, like big names, but
Maybe big names, but not in the dance
big
competition
names,
world.
but not in the dance competition
No,
world.
they didn't-
You know, I'm not saying that I can choreograph an entire tour, but I know what wins at a dance competition.
Well, that's the thing is, and that shows the stupidity of
right.
the network and the production company. I did use the stupid word, yes, because they went for LA names, which
maybe have
instead of-
never choreographed something for a dance competition. It's totally different.
and go through my phone, call my friends that own a dance studio. Like that's what they're doing now. But they're just so off. They just don't even get it. But yes, so we know what wins in a dance competition. And before the TV show, before Gianna was a teenager, I knew what won from trial and error. You know, I didn't win all the time. We lost. We used to go to this big convention every Easter weekend, and 3 people won, first, second, and third. Everybody else went home with nothing. Nothing.
That was a thing. Now everyone wins.
Yeah, everyone's
everything.
doing something. It's crazy. But that's how I grew up, and that's why I had to work and learn and research. And Gianna knows just how much time and energy I put into finding music for people. Hours, countless times spent really finding the perfect piece of music for a kid for their senior year, for their whatever title they were entering. It just had to be perfect in my ears. That's what I heard. That's what I wanted them to do. To then do a television show where somebody threw music at you.
Oh.
Yes. So.
And Gianna, what did you think when they would, like when Abby wouldn't be there and then they would bring in these ringers? Because I feel like as a viewer, it seemed like you weren't the one that they were allowing to be in charge, even though it was still the ALDC.
No, it was never me. And I think just probably because, you know, I wasn't
controversial.
that's what I was going to say. I wasn't controversial. I wasn't going to give them this big explosive episode. I would have given them a winning dance. I would have gotten the piece done. Everyone would have been happy. You know, I would have had them on stage at the right time. Pretty hair, pretty makeup.
Right. Yeah.
Song would have been in, things like that. I don't think that's what they wanted. I don't think that's what they were looking for. And I think a lot of times people say, why aren't you ever on camera? Why are they always editing you out? Because nothing I did was controversial. Everything I did kind of helped everybody, I think, or everything that I did was helping you, calming you down, like cleaning the routines on the side and making the dances better, things like that. That doesn't make for good TV.
Right. And you used to say to me every once in a while, you know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. Yeah. Just don't listen to it.
I would say just don't say anything. Just keep your mouth shut. Just don't give them what they want. And she's like, but then there's no show. So I get that too. But I guess
in your eyes, you didn't want to see me upset and crying and worked up and ruining the day and causing all this.
I'd be like, just don't open your mouth. Just don't say it.
Don't say what you're thinking.
And then she
you
did.
Would get emotional
and then
too.
I wouldn't listen to her, and I would just say it. And then
I mean, sometimes it would get pretty overwhelming and things like that. But no, I don't know. I was pretty calm just because I could step to the side of things, or I could, I guess, walk out of the room and do something, you know, in a different room. I wasn't always camera in my face, say this, say that, do this, do that. I did have some free range personally on the show where probably no one else did.
No, and you didn't have to do the interviews every Tuesday. They would call you in
I would have
once
to
in a
do an
while-
interview, like if you didn't come or if you left, and I had to do something on camera. Like if I had to,
They wanted you to talk
they
about
wanted me
it.
to talk about it and
And-
just like kind of what was happening.
I remember saying, Gianna, like I would see you in passing for the
Mhm.
interviews. I'm like, what are you doing here? You're like, oh, I had an interview.
And it would be
Because
like
of-
one line.
Because
or
of something had to make sense.
Or if a mom would have tried to come at me or say something, I would always steer it the other way. I would never fight with anybody, but they would have to interview me about it and say, why did she ask you that, or what were you feeling when she asked you that, things like that.
Right.
Nothing too crazy.
But towards the end, when Abby decided to not finish season 7,
Mhm.
I
at one
begged,
point,
I begged
at
her
one-
not to go to work.
Yeah, but
Was
that's
that-
yeah.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
curious about that.
Was that-
You know, they made it just so rude. I feel that they were kind of just like, oh, we're just gonna do our own thing, and then you were like, okay, well, see ya. Like,
Well,
At one
yeah,
point-
because at that point, I kind of knew it was nearing the end. So I was like, well, this is it. I'm good. I put in my time. If you can't see what I've done, what we've done for this show and on the show,
And
like,
made you how much money and
good,
yeah.
good luck. And they called me and offered me more money and all this money and this and that. And I said, nope, I'm good.
Was
If
this
it was
after-
about the money, I would have quit a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, because she got screwed big time. But I told you not to go. You shouldn't have had a dance agent negotiate your contract. You should have had an attorney. But that's in hindsight.
Yeah.
So, but saying that, you knew it was nearing the end.
I was just like, it's just too much now. I was just kind of over everything that they were doing. I was over the way they were taking the show.
Overproduced.
Yeah.
And when you say taking the show, tell our viewers, listeners, what direction they were taking it.
They were just trying to make all the kids be like, they don't need us anymore. Things like that. Like they could bring in somebody and just go win a dance competition with whoever. Okay, let them do that. You know, if they can't see, if they don't really need us or really want us, okay, we don't need them.
I don't know. I'm sure some of our viewers, listeners know. Did they ever win anything
No,
after?
they
weren't even making
won-
top 5. And then,
No,
and then
and
we
then
had
the
other
rest-
numbers going to competitions
Oh,
with
I
them.
remember that.
That like from our studio, because we would do that some weekends. Like if we were local, our other kids would come, and our other numbers were beating them.
And the last episode that they did of that season, which wasn't, it was supposed to end much before that, as you guys have said, for Is There Still Hope? That was supposed to be the last episode of,
Yeah,
And
I
then,
love that dance.
the best dance. I'm so
addiction
grateful
piece.
that I got to be there.
Oh,
With the black.
that
Abby
was.
wanted them to be in pink and black, and I was like, no, they're wearing black.
Yeah. And people say that routine went too far, and it just, and it's
People
just like,
say
that
that?
was the whole.
Whenever people
Oh,
ask me my favorite routines, I always say that run of routines. It was the pink dance, the hot pink dance with the rose petals.
Yes.
It was the denim dance with the shovel,
the overalls.
6 feet under or whatever.
And then
Yep.
what
and
about
then
the,
underneath.
what
with
about the
Bryn
Western?
was like under
the Western,
piece.
Oh, love that.
my mom.
We had those
My mom
costumes.
and my grandma were at that one.
We had those
Go
costumes
town.
for years.
And then the addiction piece. That whole run of dances, it was like Kalani, Bryn, Nia, Kendall, like that whole crew. They were older. They were in the teen division now, and
Yes.
they were like it was a really good like run for us. I feel
They were gorgeous.
It was. And that was supposed to be the end, and then they took the show in a
that
different
should have been the
direction.
end.
It,
Remember
it was,
when they
I remember
got us out of there?
I was rushed out of the competition myself, and Steve, who worked on the show, who's my fiance now,
Yay, hi, Steve.
and he and I were heading into the city for the weekend after because that was the finale, and we were going
Some
to
of the
stay
moms
for the
were,
weekend.
too.
A lot of people were, the crew, like a lot of
Yeah.
people were, and so I was like, no, I have to wait for Steve. Like we have like a black car or whatever
Waiting.
transpo coming to take us into the city. They're like, no, they like literally put me into a car.
Me
Took
too.
me to the hotel. And I'm like, wait, but my luggage is still at the competition. Like I had brought it with me in the morning and things like that. And I'm like, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. And there was like, no one talked. No one even looked at me. There was nothing. It was just like,
I was thrown
I was
into the
literally
back.
thrown into a car.
So was I. And it felt like I was being kidnapped or
Me
something.
too. Me too.
And I left my
and
phone.
we were separate. Like we weren't together being kidnapped.
Yeah, that would have been fine. We would have went to a mall or something. But my phone was plugged into a charger
So we
in
had
the
no
room.
idea what was going on. And then after the fact, I feel like a lot of the crew didn't either
Oh, interesting.
until like a few minutes before.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, the show was nearing the end, and just I would like to get to a question, if that's okay, because you guys did bring up Baby in the Box or Baby in a Box, and Pan Princess, who is an ALDC elite on Patreon, asked, "We've heard a dance your group did called Baby in a Box was going to be the finale dance for the girls at one point. Are there any other dances that you wish you guys could have redone for the show?"
Oh, like from when I danced.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never gotten that question.
I would have done Left in the Dark with the older kids.
Oh, I love that one.
It's Barbra Streisand.
Abby let me redo that dance once. It was with Jesse, Emily,
Oh, yeah.
Taylor, Miranda.
With the guys.
It won a lot with Jesse Johnson.
He's on tour
I know.
right now. He just finished tour with Rosalia to sold out crowds in Paris and around the world. He's doing wonderful. Shout out to Jesse Johnson and his nice, sweet mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. So first of all, the Baby in the Box music does not exist anymore.
Well.
I still have a cassette tape of it, though, in my parents' house. I think I took it from one of the competitions. I don't know.
It exists. You have it.
I don't. Let me think.
We would have done, well, the kids had to be older. They had to be seniors to do that dance, Left in the Dark.
A lot of, Abby had a lot of really, really great numbers, like when I was growing up. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like I would rewatch them over and over and over again.
Funny Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
We did those pink bras with the flowers.
I was older. No, I mean like when I was younger. The dances I would watch.
What was our big number when you were in a bar in a smoky room?
Don't Stop Believing.
Yes.
How old were you during the original Where Have All the Children Gone?
Oh, you weren't in that.
Who was in? So I was teaching already, I think.
Okay.
I was older. Who was in it?
Brooke was the little tiny one that he picked up. She was in
So
a
if
stroller.
Brooke was little, I was teaching.
Yeah.
We have to try to see if we can find that original number somewhere.
I'm sure someone has it on YouTube.
It's on one of your DVDs.
Oh my gosh. So I always say this, but like I'm too, like my dances are too old to be on YouTube and all that stuff. But one of my senior duet with Amanda is on YouTube now, and it's like viral on TikTok.
It is?
Really?
the royal blue dresses.
Gianna, you have a lot of routines
Days.
and a lot of videos on your phone and stuff that nobody's ever seen of the routines on
I
stage.
have so many. My phone is so full because
He wants them.
Because
I know, I've been blowing you up. I'm sorry.
So
about
I
that,
would
but our
shoot the
listeners would love
video
to see.
just to have the second time that they danced. Like I would just film it. So yeah, I have, and that's how I relearned them all during COVID. Whenever I would teach them on Zoom during COVID,
because
I would literally learn them from the videos on my phone.
Because we during COVID, we taught students around the world on Zoom, and it was like Abby's teaching technique, warm up, blah blah blah, and then Gianna's going to teach a combo from the show.
Yeah, and then people would come on and vote of like what combo they wanted to do that week, and I'm like, oh god, I have to go learn that dance
Mom
now.
Sunday. It was
Yes.
really fun.
Yes.
And you guys still do. You guys still teach around the world on Zoom now because of it.
Yes.
I would like to, I'm sorry, I just want to do some rapid fire because a lot of people ask questions.
I have a couple questions too.
Michael, I have to go at 5 also.
I know, yeah, so we'll wrap up soon. Eleni Bus, have you and Abby ever disagreed on anything like choreography wise, or have your own favorites like individually? And how have you guys worked through that if you ever disagreed on anything while creating?
Okay, I just want to say this, and I think this is one of the reasons that Gianna worked so successfully on the show. She would be in there working, sweating, counting, yelling, which you never see her yelling, but she yelled. They just didn't air it. They just aired me yelling. And I would come in and go, I don't like the ending.
Yeah, she would.
I don't like the ending. No reaction, no rolling of the eyeballs.
Like, okay, let's change it.
No this. Okay, what do you want? And every once in a while I'd get her like, but it was only because she had just finished it, or the kids had to go, or we didn't have a lot of time left. But
yeah, there wasn't enough time for us to talk about it, because had we talked about it, they would have wrapped. Like the dance wouldn't have been done.
No. And I also think that that's what makes a successful working choreographer is the director or the producer have the final say, and they know what the big picture is. I remember though,
She used to tell me sometimes that my choreography is too fast or that it goes back and forth too much.
I did?
Yeah, you would always say, it's too fast. It's too much up and down.
Too much up and down. Well, when you're short, when you're petite and your legs are shorter, you can get up and down faster than when you're really tall. You can't get up and down as fast. However, I remember you being a little bit, you didn't care one way or the other, but it was like you thought this is too late for this. But I was right.
What?
When Maddie did Lizzie Borden and nobody had the axe. No one had the axe. You never had it to rehearse with. Production never got the axe. Never had it. Never had it. That's the other thing. They always wanted to do these props and this crazy nonsense. When you are working in a dance studio and you have 6 months to learn a routine, you can take 2 months to get the prop finished because you still have 4 months to go. But they wanted us to do things and
with like imaginary props.
Yeah, they didn't have it there. Oh, we want her to jump off this and roll over that and get in a casket, but we don't have the casket yet till we get to the stage. Okay, not going to work. So the axe, we didn't have the axe, and we were at the competition. No, we were at the hotel,
and
we were in this little room, and they were making us rehearse these numbers. And I was like, "Where's the axe?" And Maddie was like, "We don't have the axe." And I was like, "The axe." And then Melissa came over and go, "Does she really need to use the axe?" You know, in her little sing-songy, innocent voice. Does she really need? I was like, "Yes, Yes, she killed her parents with 47 whacks of the axe. Of course, she needs the axe. Are you people crazy?" And we got the axe. She danced with the axe, and it's one of my favorite numbers. Love it.
That one.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes.
But no, I don't think we ever like disagreed, or if we did, it wasn't like anything big. There was never like a blow up of anything. It was just like, okay, let's fix it. Hurry up. Like, how fast can I fix it? What do you mean to fix it?
And at that moment in Gianna's life, I had been judging for years. So when she was in dance class, in my classes, in my studio, I would go away to Canada, let's say. And I would come back from Canada, and I know all the kids were like, "Oh, she's coming back from Canada. She's going to hate us. She's going to be so mean." Because I would see these incredible dancers, and I'd come back to my studio, and I'd be like, "You're going to do this, 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 and this," right?
I remember.
But I was judging constantly. So I looked at things from a different perspective than you do as a dance teacher when you're sitting in the audience judging. Now Gianna judges every weekend all the time. However, at that point, she hadn't had that experience yet. So she always trusted that I knew what I was talking about. I was her teacher.
I remember this vividly. I remember I finished the piece, one of my favorite pieces, the suicide piece, where Kendall was standing on the table, and she like drops the phone, and actually that dial tone is actually from the studio phone. I recorded it. Yeah, I recorded that whole phone call, the whole thing, just on my GarageBand, and I did the end, and Abby had seen it for the first time, and they did it like right on the first time, and she cried. She was like, "Okay, it's done."
And there's more questions, but guys, Gianna will be back on the podcast.
Yeah, I will.
I know that you guys want her on regularly, and
there's certain things. There's a few things.
This is my first podcast, Abby.
Okay, good.
I've never done it. No, I know, but they're like in now.
Oh, I know. I didn't want to do it. I fought. I still fight about it. I don't want to hear my own voice any more than I do.
I actually don't like to listen to my own voice. I say that all the time.
Now,
but the world wants it. The world
wants it. What the world wants, the world gets. And we're leaving it all on the dance floor here. Now, I know a lot about Gianna. There's a few things I don't know. We're going to go fast. Just answer it. Don't give me an interview answer. I don't need the because.
Okay.
I just need the answer.
Gotcha.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Cookies and cream.
I did not know that. I know ranch salad dressing.
Ranch salad dressing. But like good ranch.
Good ranch. Like Cheesecake Factory ranch.
Like, yes, Cheesecake Factory ranch. Like Pittsburgh ranch.
Okay. Thick.
Like Eaton Park ranch.
Thick. Yes. Okay. I know that. And I know you like spicy food. Like
really spicy food.
Diablo sauce.
Like Thai food.
Oh, okay.
Spicy.
Yeah. So I don't do that. What's your drink? Your go-to drink?
Like, I'm going to say pop, like ginger ale.
No, like a cocktail.
Out drink?
Yeah.
Okay. This is, I'm turning, Natalie and I are turning everyone on to this drink. It's Kettle and Sprite with lemon and simple syrup.
What's
it my called? Favorite drink. It's not. It was like we found it in a dance competition hotel one weekend.
Oh, Gia. Call it the Gia. Okay. All right. Favorite color?
Black.
Favorite wedding color?
Black.
Interesting. Okay. And do we have any dates or plans or anything for this wedding yet?
Not yet.
No?
No,
You
not
just-
yet.
You've had,
We've been together for almost, I think, 8 years now. So I just feel like we're like already married.
but you didn't get the stuff. You have to get the stuff.
No, I know.
Okay. So you've had an emotional year
Mm-hmm.
this year. There's been highs
Yeah.
and there's been lows.
Yeah.
So tell our viewers, your grandfather passed away.
I lost both of my grandparents, both age 96, within 22 days of each other. They've been together. They were together since they were 6 years old.
They knew each other at
Uh-huh.
age 6.
Yes, and they knew they were going to get married then.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So,
That's a
and
love story.
ironically, 22 days apart. Which, if you guys don't know the significance of that number, it's just
That's the
insane.
ALDC number. I don't know if it's lucky or
and
if it's
and
not.
in
but
between those 22 days, I got engaged.
yes. Yes. And I feel that that was a good thing
Yeah.
that your grandmother knew that
Yeah.
you were engaged.
Yeah.
Yes. Whether she knew or not,
Yeah.
she knew. They knew. And that you were happy
Yeah.
and that you were going to be taken care of.
And that
Yes.
was all within literally 2 weeks.
Yes, that was rough. And then you've had some amazing highs. You're teaching, you're
I
judging
I started teaching at BDC last fall
on
and
Zoom originally.
on Zoom. I started with a fundraiser for them. It was a fundraiser for Beirut whenever they had the explosions and stuff.
Okay.
They had asked me, I think just because my Zoom people were kind of all around the world, and so they could get a lot of people to help out with the fundraiser
Okay.
with me. So I did that, and then I started to do BDC Fridays, Fan Cake Fridays.
Okay.
And I did that, and then I did a class last fall for the first time. And when I went to log on to try to like just see it online or screenshot it, it said sold out within like minutes.
Wow.
And I was like,
That's exciting.
so yeah, I do that when I can get to the city, which isn't always, but I like doing it when I'm there and when I can.
Okay. And you're
And then
teaching
you
at
have
the,
Technique Tuesday.
yes.
at the
Technique Tuesday, I try every Tuesday. Well, I've been, besides the summer, I'm at ALDC in LA every Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. So,
And then when I'm in town, I'm there on the weekends as well.
so if you're flying into LA,
I'm about to go teach right now.
she's leaving right now to go. But please check our schedule. It changes because our lives change. But it's a small boutique studio. You are welcome to come. We have drop-in kids from all over the world that show up. And we welcome everyone. You don't have to be an advanced dancer to come to the ALDC LA. And also for kids that are here in the neighborhood, parents that are listening that are in Los Angeles, we take all levels of kids. I bump into people at the store, at the grocery store, and their kids in dance floor, and they go somewhere else. I'm like, why would you go somewhere else when you could come to us? Like, it doesn't even make sense. So you're all welcome to come. You're welcome to take Gianna's class. And
It's fun.
favorite meal?
Sushi.
Really? See, that's why we're not out
Or
together at night.
my dad's sauce.
Your dad's sauce. Yes, your dad's
He's going to
sauce.
hear it. He's going to listen to this, I'm
Favorite
sure. so.
restaurant? Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant.
Coast of Maine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Coast in Maine.
Coast of Maine in Pittsburgh.
I literally was
Pennsylvania.
in Pittsburgh for 20 hours this entire year, and I made a point to go to Coast in Maine.
Of course. Of course. So big shout out the Kearsall family at Coast in Maine.
I was thinking like LA. No, Coast in Maine for sure.
Yes, yes. You don't get food like that out here.
No.
It's all separate. Like you don't get the meal, I hate that. All right. So when you were in high school and you were entering Miss Dance of Pennsylvania and teen and all that, those good things, I would ask you, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Probably back in Pittsburgh.
Don't say that.
No, I always said I'm gonna move home. Not yet, not anytime soon. I always wanted to be bi-coastal. I always wanted to be able to have a place at home and have a place in LA. I want to get to New York City more. I did that this year. I said that in the beginning of this year. I wanted to get to the city more, which I've been doing. No, I do want to go home eventually. People just always ask me when I'm going to open a dance studio, and I just say, I go like this.
Because you had one.
So
Could
no,
have had one.
I do want to end up. My entire family is in Pittsburgh, so I eventually I want to end up there, but not yet.
All right, wait till I'm dead. Don't open a studio till I'm dead.
I'm not.
Because
I don't really
had
know.
a
I don't
nice
really
one.
want to open a dance studio.
I know. You saw the other side of the business.
I like what I do, and I hate to say it, but well, I right now I really like what I'm doing.
Your life.
And I can still, like I said, I landed at midnight last night, and I'm back out at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I like the hustle and bustle. I can still do it. It doesn't exhaust. I mean, it does exhaust me, but not in a bad way.
No,
I like what I'm doing. I think a lot of people, don't like what they're doing. I love what I do.
Especially you have friends
Mhm.
that went to college with you, that got out, they got married, they have families, and they're in a job that they don't love.
Yes. No, I love what I do.
Right.
But
We have exciting lives.
no, I like, and I'm very indecisive. I like LA. I like New York, but I do like home too.
Mm-hmm. And as an only child, and I don't want to bring up bad vibes, but as an only child, you have your mom and dad,
Mm-hmm.
and they have you.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad got sick
Mm-hmm.
and died an ugly, horrible death of cancer. Fought. And then my mom got sick. As you well know, you were there through it all on the show. You have your mom and dad, and right now
Mm-hmm.
they're healthy. Let's
Yeah.
knock on wood, yes. But you need to be there
Yeah.
for them
Yeah,
at
I
some
wanna-
point.
yeah.
Yes. And we know that as only children. There's nobody else but us.
Yeah.
So, and there's nobody
Only
else that
child
they
club.
want. Yeah, the only child club. There's good things and there's not so good things. Thank you so much for being
Aw.
here today
I
on
feel like that was like 2 seconds.
Leave It on the Dance Floor. We don't get to talk enough. That's the other thing is people would tell me something or I'd find out something and they're like, well, I told Gianna. Or they told my mother. I'm like, well, but I don't, just because you told her doesn't mean you told me. It doesn't mean she told me. We're busy.
Oh, I'll be
Yes.
back on.
Thank you so very much for being here on Leave It on the Dance Floor. Gianna Martello, she's available. Hey, right? And I always say everyone's replaceable, but not you, sweetheart.
Not me.
Not you.
Thanks, Abby. I'll see you next time on Leave It on the Dance Floor.
My world is with my girls.
ALDC Elites, thank you so very much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and give Leave It on the Dance Floor a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch each week and see exclusive behind-the-scenes content like my never seen before pictures and videos from the competitions, some even taken from the wings, classes at the ALDC studio in Pittsburgh, or even our iconic dance concerts, head over to Patreon or become a member on YouTube Premium, linked in the show notes each week. See you on the flip side.